Hi, everyone. My name is Angie Alvarez.
And I'm James Bull.
We're part of the Pathways FYE team, and we want to welcome you to PCC and the PCC Pathways First Year Experience Online Open House. Thank you so much for joining us. And shout out to all of the family members, the parents, guardians, siblings, everyone that's out there helping their students along the way and here with us tonight.
Welcome.
Live captioning is available for tonight's presentation, so please go ahead and click the live transcript button and go ahead and turn that on if that'll make it easier for you to follow along.
Yep, might be a little easier to follow along there. Our goals for today are to inform you about the different steps you're going to need to take to enroll at PCC and to tell you about some of the awesome services and resources that you're going to get as a Pathways FYE student. Before we get started, I want to give a chance in the chat here to go ahead and shout out what high schools we have coming in here. So everybody just throw in what high school you're coming from. We'll see what kind of representation we got here. Arcadia, I'm Arcadia as well. Thanks for that one. We got Gabrielino.
Shout out to Pasadena High School Bulldogs. Woo, woo. I actually have a special guest. My little sister from Pasadena High School is also out in the audience today. So congrats to the Bulldogs on that turkey tussle win. Let's see, San Gabriel.
See you, Bulldogs, Alverno.
Wow. More Arcadia, Temple City, Montebello. I love it. I love it.
What's up, St. Francis, La Cañada. Excellent. Excellent. They're still coming in, so we appreciate you all throwing those in.
I see a Texas one there. Miguel Contreras Learning Complex, Flintridge Sacred Heart Academy.
Nice.
Go Guerreros. I love that. I love that. Awesome. All right. So it's great to see so much high school pride out there with you guys. Another goal for today is to give you and your family the opportunity to ask any questions you might have as you get ready to start at PCC.
Yeah, if you have a question for us, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom at any time during this presentation. Hang tight and we'll get to those questions.
Si tiene alguna pregunta, escríbala en la pantalla de preguntas y respuestas que puede encontrar en la parte de abajo de su pantalla con las letras designadas Q y A.
And our amazing Pathways FYE staff are on with us today. They're going to be answering your questions throughout the presentation. Please be patient. They're going to get to questions in the order that they're asked. So please just hang tight and they will be answering those.
Yeah, we'll try to help as much as we can. So we understand that you're excited to socialize with other FYE students, but it's really important for you to pay attention so that you don't miss out. We actually have the chat closed during the presentation, and we're going to reopen it once we start the Q&A portion of our program. Remember, even though the chat will be closed, the Q&A feature on Zoom will remain open.
Now, a little about our program. The Pathways FYE program has been serving students for more than a decade. And until last year, students could actually get help in person here in the Pathway Center.
Yeah, we never thought we'd have to host our services in a virtual setting, and we recognize that this past year has been challenging for all of us. We appreciate you signing on to yet another Zoom session to find out more about what we have to offer. Our program is nationally recognized, and our team has been working really hard to make sure you have an awesome first year and overall college experience.
Absolutely. And if you take advantage of Pathways FYE resources, you're going to increase your chances of accomplishing your goals at PCC within 2 to 3 years. Whether you're looking to earn an associate's degree, complete requirements for a certificate of achievement, or transfer to a four-year university. I know we got a lot of students here looking to transfer. We make sure that you receive the classes and the support that you need to be successful.
Definitely. Yeah. So we do our best to make sure that you have accurate, up-to-date information and the support and resources you need. If you have specific questions about admissions, resources, or the transfer process, you can always reach out to the Pathways FYE staff so that we can help.
And while most of you will be part of our general pathway, which is open to all first-year students, we also have other pathways that are optimized for specific student populations with targeted support and resources.
Yeah, we do. So the first one that we have is actually for students participating in a competitive sport at PCC. We have the Athletes Pathway crafted just for you. You'll get help scheduling your classes and study times around practices, games, and other sports-related activities.
Yep, great pathway for athletes. And then students who are not native to the US are eligible to be part of our international pathway. International students get support adjusting to US culture and receive help navigating a new system of higher education, all while maintaining visa status.
Ujima is a learning community designed to enhance the experience of African American students through counseling, instruction, mentoring, and community building. Ujima students develop a strong sense of identity and community by participating in educational, cultural, and social workshops and events.
Yeah, excellent program over there. Really powerful stuff. The folks over at Ujima do great work. Another amazing program that we have is our Ascend Promise Scholars. This is a student empowerment and support program designed for students who identify as men of color. They provide personalized academic and social support, financial assistance with expenses such as tuition, books, transportation, even technology. So a little financial assistance there, a strong sense of community and mentorship by men of color for men of color. If you want to learn about Ascent or Ujima or athletes or the international pathway, any of these pathways, please go ahead and visit the Pathways FYE webpage for all the info. Want to point out also, folks, that we've got these QR codes on the screen. So if you've got your phone, you can feel free to go ahead and pull up the links to the web pages that we're talking about as we're going along. Take you straight there.
So next, we're actually gonna have a student give you some advice. So here's Gabby.
Hi all, my name is Gabby. I'm a part of Student Advisory Equipo, and I have 2 advice for you first year students to be successful during your time in college. The first advice is network, and you can do this 2 ways. You can network by talking to people in your classes, or you can also join a club, and I highly encourage you. Like, look at me. I'm an outgoing person now, and before I used to be shy. And that happened because I joined a club, so I'm gonna sponsor them here. If you're a STEM student, join SHIP. But anyways, my second advice is don't overload yourself. Sometimes you want to get out of a community college fast, but don't do that. Just take your time, get that 4.0 GPA, and you can do it as long as you know your limit and don't overload yourself. I know that was a big mistake of mine, so I don't want that to happen to you. But thank you all. Bye.
That's some really great advice coming from Gabby. So thank you so much to Gabby for sharing these words with you all. As a new student at PCC, there are a few things you'll need to do before the fall semester starts. We created this new student checklist to help you complete the process. And some of you might have already seen it. If you haven't, feel free to take a screenshot, refer back to it. It outlines the steps you need to complete to get started. All right, so this is your guide basically as you're coming into the college. We'll go ahead and drop that chat in that link in the chat, so that you can access this as easily as possible. So let's talk a little bit about priority registration.
Yep, you may have heard that classes fill up fast at PCC. That's true. Some students have earlier registration dates than others, and because of that, it can be hard to find the classes that you need. It can take time, even years, to complete enough units to significantly improve your registration date. Kind of tough, but that's where we come in. If you complete all program requirements on the new student checklist, that checklist that Angie just showed you all, you're actually going to be able to register up to 3 weeks earlier than other FYE students who are not affiliated with a special program. 3 weeks is big. 3 weeks is a big jump up to get started earlier. We refer to this as priority registration.
Yeah, huge, not just big, it's huge. Priority registration makes a difference as to whether or not you get the schedule you want. So to receive priority registration, you'll need to complete the following steps. So complete the online orientation on Lancer Point, complete a new student counseling workshop, which is online, to receive an ed plan from a counselor. Don't forget to submit that intake form at the end. Register for JAM, our summer orientation program for pathway students. Enroll in math, English, and College One within your first year at PCC. Studies show that if you take math and English in your first year at PCC, you're more likely to successfully complete all graduation and transfer requirements.
So complete those requirements, you're going to receive priority registration, and that's going to make it possible for you to get the courses that you want and need. If you meet these first 3 requirements on this slide here, getting that orientation done, doing that new student counseling, and getting your ed plan, you're actually going to have a registration date as early as June 15th. Awesome registration date, fairly early. But meet all 6 of these requirements, and that's actually going to give you special priority registration that will allow you to register as early as June 2nd. So all 3 of the first 3 there, and then these other ones, sign up for JAM, enroll in math and or English, and enroll in College 1 in your first semester in the fall. And we'll talk a little bit more about enrolling in those classes in a moment. But Angie, I just threw out a bunch of dates. We got June 15th, we got June 2nd, we've got all these requirements. It's a little confusing. If you can just kind of help unpack this for us and help us to understand it a little bit better.
Sure. Yeah. So let's take a moment and talk about the difference between these. So we mentioned priority registration a couple of times here, and it can be really confusing because priority registration is what you get through your badges on your Lancer point. That's actually early registration. So that June 15th date, that's what you get by completing those three steps. So getting an ed plan, having your placement, getting your online orientation done. So all of those are great, and you're going to have an early registration for June 15th. That's our FYE program. So if you're an FYE student, which is everyone as soon as they apply and get accepted into the college as first year students, you're considered part of our FYE program. Now we have a very special population for Pathways FYE. That is the other students who complete the rest of our steps. So JAM, math and or English within your first year, and College 1 by the fall semester. So those students will get that priority registration that is as early as June 2nd. So our priority dates, there's a few dates on there, but the earliest that you can get is June 2nd, just for doing those steps. So, and the way that we know that you're interested in getting priority and that you're interested in being part of our Pathways program is registering for JAM. And you should have already received an email about that. You can find it on our new student checklist. There's tons of ways for you to get connected on JAM. So make sure that you're registering for JAM. So early registration, June 15th, that's FYE. Pathways FYE is as early as June 2nd. You've got to register for JAM. That's the first thing that you do for sure. Make sure that you're registering for math and or English in your first semester, and then registering for College 1 as well by the fall semester.
Awesome. So complete all the requirements, potentially get to register like up to 13 or more days earlier. That sounds pretty good to me. Sounds like a good deal, because in those 13 days, guess what's going to happen? Classes are going to fill up. Classes, unfortunately, are going to be filling up. So get that priority registration. That's why Pathways FYE is going to be one of the best designations you can have. It's going to be one of the best programs on campus to be in. Can't shout out Pathways enough. And again, it is important to understand just how fast these classes fill up and what a difference it's going to make, what a different experience you're going to have with that earlier registration date.
Definitely. So, but we want to emphasize that getting an early registration date or priority registration date is not enough. You have to remember to register on that date, and at that time, if possible, do whatever you can to make sure you are on a computer or on a device ready to register at that time, because the longer you wait, the more difficult it is to get classes. All right. So we want to remind you, register on that date and at that time as much as possible. So now let's talk a little bit more about JAM and College 1.
JAM is an award-winning interactive summer orientation program. JAM is normally held in person here on campus, but since the start of the pandemic, we've had to shift to an online format. During JAM, you're going to set goals, explore careers and majors, learn about PCC resources and services, and get ready for the fall semester, and you're going to make some friends. JAM will take place over 3 days, and full participation is required. Go ahead and check your PCC email to learn more about JAM and how to register for one of these sessions. Let's actually take a minute here to hear from a student who attended JAM.
Hi, I just wanted to say PCC JAM was so much fun and definitely different than what I expected. To be honest, at first I was like, 3 long days, 7 hours, like this is gonna be a pain, but I gotta get it done. And it turned out to be such a blast, and I learned so much. Honestly, beforehand, I was so nervous to just go into college, and I'm like, how am I gonna make friends? How am I going to talk to my teachers? I don't know how I'm gonna balance this workload. But honestly, JAM like changed it majorly. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to start PCC now.
Awesome, awesome. Really good to hear from that student. As you can see, Jam is great. Folks love it. Just make sure that you check your email so that you can register. You're going to find all the info there.
Yeah, so jam is fun. Jam into your jammies this year when you're doing it online. So make sure you have some fun in jam. So next, let's talk about College One. So College One is a 3-unit CSU and UC transferable course. We designed it to help you sharpen your research, critical thinking, and information literacy skills. And those are things you're gonna need while you're in order for you to succeed in college. Remember that registering for jam and College One are part of the requirements for priority registration. You're going to hear us say that a lot. Jam and College One priorities for priority registration. So make sure that you get those done.
Yeah, and during your first year at PCC, you're actually going to receive support from your success team, which includes a success coach, counselors, and access to online tutoring and academic support.
All right, so your success coach, and we'll refer to them back and forth, success coach, coach. Those of you who are not playing sports, your coach is your success coach. This is an academic coach. They're a graduate student who is currently completing a degree in counseling. These are your real MVPs on campus, or your GOATs. I think some of these students in this generation are calling them GOATs now. So these are the GOATs on campus. They will be your go-to to help guide you through your first year at PCC. Your coach will be reaching out to you at your student email address closer to the start of the semester. So once we've identified who your coach is, they'll be reaching out to you so that you know who they are. Make sure that you connect with them. Like I said, they're the GOATs. You want to make sure that you're friends with them. You know who they are. They know who you are.
Coaches are awesome. Our counseling team here at PCC is next level. Our FYE counselors are here to make sure that you stay on track to graduate and or transfer from PCC. Again, want to shout out to all our transfer folks here. They also answer any questions you may have about being a college student. If you need to connect with a counselor, you can get help through, guess who? Your new best bud, your personal success coach. Again, keeps coming back to those success coaches.
Yeah, success coaches are big. Make sure that you connect with yours, make them your best friend. So next, some of your classes are going to be hard, and we know that, but don't worry, you're going to have access to an amazing community of support, including tutors to help you with your classes, librarians to assist with research, and career advisors to help you make sense of your next steps in career exploration. We're very focused on making sure that you never lose sight of your academic and career goals.
And then another awesome feature that we have to offer is our Learning Center. The Pathways FYE Center is a one-stop shop for all of your college needs. You're going to see Angie and myself there, and the rest of the staff. We're all going to be hanging here, and one of us will be sure to help you out. And when we're back on campus, you're going to see it's a great place to hang out. There are other perks in the center, including a place to meet your coach and counselor. You can finish up some schoolwork, print out papers. We've got tech loans here. You can check out a laptop or that graphing calculator for that math or stats class. You can pick up some testing materials or just hang out here and study in between classes. Right now, the Pathways FYE Center is currently closed, but when we reopen, you'll be the first to enjoy our newly renovated space. It's all brand new. They knocked down the walls. We got all this brand new stuff in here. So it's really awesome. It's state of the art. You guys are going to love it. So we'll pause for a moment here. We'll hear from another student.
Hi Lancers, welcome to PCC. My name is David. I'm in my third year here at PCC and I'm majoring in economics. And I have spent a lot of time here on campus. Some of the things that I wish someone had told me on my first day is where all the good study spots are. And my favorite spot most of all is the Shatford Library on the third floor. It's super quiet. The chairs aren't exactly the most comfortable, but the atmosphere is really perfect to study. Another great option would be the Pathway Center. They also have some really great seating. They have printing services as well, and they have staff there always to help you with anything that you need. I think probably my most favorite spot is, of course, the Office of Student Life in CC 105. That's where the student government is housed. So there's also some study spots there. But the best part is just having direct access to your student government leaders, and if you have any issues, you can always speak to them. So there's just so many spaces here on campus that are specifically designed to make you feel welcomed and to make you feel safe so that you can study. So those are some options. I also wish that someone had told me about the Math Success Center on day one, because I spent so many days struggling on trigonometry, on calculus, But there's just so many resources there here on campus that are designed to help you, such as tutoring, where you can meet with a student tutor. And there's also drop-in counseling specialized for STEM. And just the atmosphere in the Math Success Center is just awesome. So I definitely recommend that you check that out. It's on the 4th floor of the R building. And yeah, good luck at PCC, and I hope to see you around on campus on the fall.
Thank you so much to David. Great to hear from him. Yeah, we can't wait to have you all on campus. But let's go into registration, which is what a lot of you are here to find out more about. So June 2nd through 4th are the earliest dates that a first-year pathway student can register for fall classes. So that's the earliest that our first-year students can register if they have gotten priority registration. So the day and time you get is randomly generated and can't be changed. Believe me, I get these questions every year. Can you change my date? I've got, the 2nd or the 3rd date. Unfortunately, the system does it itself, so they can't be changed. But regardless of whether your day falls on the 2nd, the 3rd, or the 4th, this is still one of the best registration priority levels you can get on campus. But as we said before, be sure to register. Be sure to check when your registration date is and be ready to register on that date and at that time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Angie, we get all the time, we have students who the issue with getting classes is really not having the classes be available at the time that students actually go to register. The problem is a lot of students are waiting till after their registration date and time. And so we're like, come on, please just set a reminder, do whatever you have to do, make sure that you register on your date and time. So that's the when. We want to talk a little bit about the where. Registration is not done in person on campus. Say that one again. It is not done in person on campus. So if you're multitasking right now, playing Call of Duty, got another screen up or whatever, want to ask you to just take a moment and hear us out here that there's nowhere here. Angie, is there some building I can go to on campus to register?
Nope, all online, Lancer Point.
Cool. Only online on Lancer Point. So make sure that you hit up your student portal. That's your Lancer Point, and see kind of the mechanics of how you're going to be registering on there. And you'll need to prepare in advance by identifying the course registration numbers for your classes. The course registration number is also referred to as the CRN.
So James, let me ask you, can you come on campus and register for classes here?
I sure can't.
All right. As you can see, that's important. You can't register on campus. Make sure that you know how to navigate your Lancer Point. And so with that, we know that registering for classes is a new skill that you need to learn. The Pathways FYE staff understands that learning this process can be a challenge. So we've created awesome pre-registration workshops to help. Pre-registration workshops will start on May 17th and continue until May 28th. The hour-long workshop will teach you how to register for classes online and allow you to ask questions. So some of you have a lot of questions about what's going on with your student status. We can help you out with that. But you'll also get help finding your registration date, locating your educational plan, and understanding the schedule of classes so that you can build your dream schedule. If there are any registration holds on your account, we'll identify them during the workshop and work to get them resolved before your date to register. You should have already received an email from me to sign up for a pre-registration workshop, or you can refer to step number 9 on the new student checklist to get the workshop sign up link.
Yep, and again, once we send you your registration date and time, please, please, please set a reminder to make sure you don't miss it. Throw it in your phone reminders. I don't know if you need to set up an event on Facebook or whatever you need to do. Please just do not miss your registration date and time, because that is going to make all the difference in seeing the schedule of classes actually reflect things being open versus all those classes being full and you not being able to get the classes that you need. And as always, our team is going to be available on the day of your registration if you need additional support. So we're here.
Definitely here. So now something else that we like to help our students out with is financial aid. So let's talk a little bit about financial aid. Something else you all have questions about. So the state of California promises free tuition to all first-time community college students if they meet certain requirements. To qualify for the free tuition, you must first apply for financial aid. So students must apply using the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act application. So not both, just one or the other, depending on which one you're eligible for. These applications require that you submit tax information for yourself or your parents and select the colleges and universities you're interested in attending starting in the fall semester.
Yeah, and be sure to select PCC as one of those schools so that you can receive an award letter from the college stating that your tuition is covered. We also want to remind you that applying for financial aid must be done every year. So Angie, is this a one and done thing? Can I just do it once?
Nope, renew every year. Make sure that you do that. So, and with that, like if you need help initially filling it out or renewing it every year, we can help you out. So with submitting either the FAFSA or the California Dream Act. If you need help with either of those, please reach out to the Pathways FYE so one of our staff members can guide you in submitting the application. We also have financial aid workshops every Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. So take a screenshot of this slide if you need more help. We've also added a QR code on this slide in case that'll help you access the form to sign up quicker than actually looking on our website. So we'll give you a second there to take a screenshot of this. All right, so once you're done taking that screenshot, we're gonna pause for another moment to hear another student voice.
I'm here today to tell you guys 2 pieces of advice that I really wish I knew when I first started attending Pasadena City College. The first one is please, please, please take advantage of your student ed plan. I think it's so important and essential to have a smooth sail as your journey at PCC. For you to know what classes to take the next few semesters that are coming up, because we do end up having to be in the situations of where classes get full, you end up being on a wait list, and for you to have options and a spreadsheet of other classes that you can take if those classes end up being full, I think it's really helpful, and it allows for you not to have stress and for you to create that bond with your counselor or with anyone or any of the faculty members. I think it's really important to make sure that you do that for yourself so you are not stressing out, and so you have a layout plan throughout the next following semesters for however long your journey is at PCC. So the second one I want to say is that I really, really wish I would have done this early on, but being a part of some sort of program or committee at PCC, I really wish I would have done that much early on. I did it towards my last year, but I want to definitely say that it's life-changing and it's so amazing, and I can only imagine actually doing it on campus and getting to work with these people that I have. It's a blessing, and I'm very, very honored. And I say reach out, look up on the PCC website. There's so many cool programs and committees and clubs that are going on. Get involved, really take advantage of the resources and the fun stuff that they have going on, because PCC does offer a lot, and all they want to do is help, and they do want student voices to be heard. They do want to create that environment for us, and let's not forget that. So overall, I wish you guys the best and good luck at Pasadena City College.
That's really great advice from this student. So good to hear. I'm gonna plug here again, number 6, complete new student counseling. Getting that ed plan is number 6. That's your initial ed plan. Unfortunately, there's no appointments for counseling right now, but doing that on our new student checklist is gonna allow you to get an ed plan for your first couple of terms. So summer, fall, potentially. So make sure that you're getting that done, and definitely get connected. Clubs, programs, all kinds of stuff that are happening on campus. Get connected, get involved.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Angie, we see it all the time. Students who put down roots here tend to thrive. To be honest, you get involved in things that you sometimes carry on with you to that university that you transfer to, or later in life, in your career. A lot of great stuff here at PCC, and a lot of those students end up doing far better just because they have access to all those resources, access to support and friends and advisors. And so please don't waste it. We would love to just pour into everybody and help you thrive.
Build a family. Yeah.
Yeah, join the family. So on that note, we'll actually get started here talking about some of those special programs that we have at PCC. We encourage you to participate in as many programs as possible, actually, so you can take advantage of all the great resources that they have to offer.
For sure. So first up, we have honors. For students who plan to transfer, should consider joining the honors program. To be eligible, you must have an unweighted high school GPA of 3.2 or higher. If you don't qualify right away, you can still qualify by achieving a 3.2 GPA or higher at PCC. Honor students must complete 15 units of honors level coursework during their time at PCC and maintain full-time status, which means enrolling in at least 12 units every semester. So for students who complete honors requirements, you'll have priority consideration at certain colleges and universities such as UCLA, it's a big one, UCI, and Occidental College, to name a few. If you're interested in the honors program, please visit the PCC Honors Program webpage for more information and to get a copy of the application, which you can't submit until you have a final transcript from high school. So just FYI. And then again, you see these QR codes on these programs. You can do a screenshot so that you can save the QR code for later or use it to hop on over to that website if you'd like to.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of those QR codes. There's always a lot of interest, I feel like, Angie, in the honors program. We got a lot of really awesome, bright students coming in that are looking to take advantage of everything the honors program has to offer. So really encourage everybody to kind of dig in there if you're interested. The PASS program. PASS program actually helps students who are U.S. citizens or permanent residents who meet one of the following criteria. First generation college student, low income student according to federal income guidelines, or have a verifiable disability. So PASS benefits include tutoring, counseling, financial aid and scholarship assistance, field trips, and transfer support. If you're interested in being part of the PASS program, please visit their webpage on the PCC website for more information and to apply to that program.
Yeah, and actually, fun fact about PASS, they are our college level TRIO program here on campus. So any of you that are participating in TRIO Upward Bound Math Science, or TRIO Talent Search, make sure that you're connecting with PASS so that you can continue on your TRIO journey. So definitely connect with them. They are a federally funded program, like James mentioned. So, but we also have another program that's state funded. EOP&S was created to help students who are economically disadvantaged. To be eligible, students must be California residents or meet AB 540 status, qualify for California's free tuition waiver, and be educationally disadvantaged. EOP&S students receive many benefits, including a priority registration time earlier than the Pathways FYE program, so big perk, counseling and coaching, book vouchers to cover the cost of textbooks, another big perk, and tutoring. If you're interested in applying to the EOP&S program, please visit their website for more information. And actually, within the EOP&S programs, there are several other programs that also exist, one of which is our foster youth program, which is designed to assist former foster youth to transition successfully from care to college. They support and empower young people in achieving academic success and a measure of self-sufficiency. Foster youth students receive many benefits, including priority registration, assistance with financial aid and the Chafee grant, assistance with purchasing books, counseling services, life skills workshops, and crisis management. For more information on the foster youth program, please visit their website.
Yeah, amazing crew over there at EOP&S Foster Youth. And just want to remind everybody that we have these links going into the chat as we're going along. So if something jumps out at you and you didn't have a chance to get that QR code, you can always find it on the PCC website by doing a quick search. But you can usually just pop into the chat here and grab one of those links. You might have to scroll up a little bit. But yeah, I want to talk about DSP&S. Our Disabled Students Programs and Services is designed to help students with disabilities access resources and wraparound support services to help them succeed at PCC. The benefits of the DSP&S program include a priority registration time, even earlier than the Pathways FYE program, actually, help with registration and counseling, accommodations for virtual and in-person learning, and testing accommodations. If you are interested in being part of the DSP&S program, please visit their webpage to access their application. Really good folks over there as well.
Yeah, for sure. So another program, I know there's a lot, but we want to make sure we share as many of these as possible with you all so that you can participate in as many as you can. The next up, we have Puente. The focus of the Puente project is to increase the number of underrepresented students who enroll in four-year colleges and university. Puente students are encouraged to return to their communities as leaders and mentors. They will also take a series of culturally relevant classes in their first year at PCC. Some of the benefits of their program include professional mentoring and field trips to four-year colleges and universities. If you're interested in joining the Puente project, please visit their website.
Yeah, a ton of different programs that we have to offer, but that's kind of what makes us great, right, Angie? I mean, we're not just talking about being a community college that is competitive on the state level. We're one of the best community colleges in the whole country. I mean, and this is part of what makes us great. It's not any one thing. It's this whole accumulation of all these different programs and things that we have available.
Yeah.
Always good to take a moment to pause and reflect on those, but we are actually going to be moving on here into the Q&A portion of today's program. I want to let you know that Pathways FYE has an Instagram account. You can follow us to stay informed of upcoming events now and while you're a student at PCC. So go ahead and click the link in our bio there if you find us on Instagram. We are at PCC_Pathways, and you'll find a link tree that'll take you to a bunch of good resources like our Pathways FYE Discord server. So yeah, check us out on Instagram, follow us on social.
Yeah, and actually shameless plug with our Instagram. We also post about other things that are happening, not just in our program, but in the campus. And I'm going to let you in on a little sneak peek here. Our counseling team, our FYE counseling team, will be hosting some workshops this summer for ed planning for students specifically interested in, the various different journeys that you can take to transfer, graduate from campus. They will be posting their information on Instagram through our account, but I think they're also going to be sharing that flyer with you all today too. So just keep an eye out on the chat for that. Our counseling will be sharing that with you. So we want to thank you so much for sticking with us during this presentation. We know we threw a lot of information your way. So much information. There's so much we have to share with you, and not enough time to share it with you. So we're going to actually recap here some of the most important information that we talked about today. So first, check your email. We want to make sure that you're checking your email. And I don't think we said this enough throughout our presentation. Your PCC email should be checked on a regular basis. And you're all going to laugh at me, but it should be checked as often as you check your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever it is that you're getting up in the morning to check. This should be one of those things too. Okay, so check your PCC email. You're going to get all kinds of good information in there from our program and others on campus. So make sure that you're checking that often. Next, refer to the new student checklist. That is your guide as a new student here on campus. That has everything that you need to do to start successfully here at PCC. There's a QR code there for you to access it easily. We can also add it into the chat if you'd like, so that it's easier for you to access it. Specifically, I'm going to plug it again. Number 6. So again, our counseling appointments are not available for our incoming first-year students. Our counselors have been swamped in the middle of this, remote learning environment. And unfortunately, they're not available for our incoming first-year students as much as we would want them to be. So completing this new student counseling workshop online and submitting an intake form is the way that you're going to get an ed plan. So if you have not already done that, make sure that you do that, especially if you're planning to join us for a pre-registration workshop. That needs to get done before you come to see us for pre-reg. So definitely do that soon. Also, know your registration date. So I think this is probably one of those is like, how do I know when I need to register? Your registration date will be emailed to you. I think some of you might have already started getting summer registration dates in your email. I'm registered for summer and I got an email last night. So make sure that you're checking your email for your summer registration if you're interested in registering for summer. Fall registration emails will also go out soon. As early as Monday, you'll be able to actually see your registration date in Lancer Point. So make sure that you're checking. Summer registration dates are already available on Lancer Point. On Monday, fall registration dates will be available on Lancer Point. All right. Next, again, early registration is as early as June 15th. If you have completed your online orientation and you have an ed plan, you've done the new student counseling and have an ed plan, and you've got your placement, you're going to be registering sometime but between June 15th and June 18th is from what I remember the dates. Okay, so one of those 3 dates or a few days. For Pathways FYE, if you have identified that you are going to be committing to the priority registration requirements, which include JAM, Math and/or English, and College 1, you're all going to be registering as early as June 2nd. So June 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Okay, one of those 3 days. The way that we know that you're committed to that is you're registering for JAM. Okay, so register for JAM. Make sure that the biggest thing you want to walk away with, if you're getting priority, you're registering for JAM as soon as possible, all right? And then lastly, and this one comes a little bit later, but we want to remind you this is important. Connect with your coach. I mentioned it a couple of times. Make sure they know who you are. Make sure you know who they are. Connect with your coach. As soon as they reach out to you, they're going to send you what their hours are. Make sure that you make a note of when they're working. They are part-timers, so they're not on campus all the time, or they're not working, not on campus, but they're not working all the time. And so make sure that you know what days they're on, so that if you email them, you're not expecting an email right away, because it might be their day off. So just keep that in mind. Connect with them. Make sure they know who you are. Make sure you know who they are most importantly. All right. All right. So a lot of you have asked some really great questions, and we're going to pull some of those to respond live. If you still have questions after we're done today, because we are going to shut this down at 7 o'clock. You know, it is a late day for us, and we could be here all night answering questions, but we do have to cut it off at some point. Make sure that you send those questions to us, if you still have them, by email to pathways@pasadena.edu, which you can see on the screen. You can also send us a direct message on Instagram. Look for our handle at PCC_pathways, and we'll have folks answering questions there as well. So this session is being recorded, as you were notified when you jumped in. So we will be making this recording available to you. You can find the link to access the recording under step number 7, so you can review the information that we provided today.
Absolutely. And now that we've concluded the presentation portion of this, we're actually going to go ahead and open up the chat for questions. As Angie said, we're going to stick around till 7 o'clock for you to make sure that we are trying to answer as many of those questions as we can. We're going to be pulling questions from the Q&A feature on Zoom and answering some of them live. And Pathways staff will continue to type up responses to the questions coming in as well. And again, that's going until 7 o'clock tonight, and then we're going to have to kind of shut this down. But then you can send an email to pathways@pasadena.edu, and we'll be answering those every day. So just feel free to throw out questions that way if you don't get them answered today. And like Angie said, meeting is being recorded. We know that that's actually one of the questions that's coming in. So you will have access to the recording. And we will actually go ahead and start out with some of the questions that were submitted to us ahead of time via email. We know that we sent out the invitation for the open house event, and some folks already had some questions coming in. So I have one big one here. Angie, are all the classes online in fall? So will all PCC courses be virtual this fall?
Oh, the way you said that, I'm like, I feel like I'm in the hot seat here. Yeah, that's a big one. Okay, so let's address that one first, because I think that's what everyone wants to know, right? So classes, most are going to be online, but some will be in person. The percentage of each, you'll be able to see when you check out the schedule of classes that's going to be going live on Monday. Things might change, but that should be a pretty good indicator. Again, this is why it's important for you to check your email. You'll also get a better idea at the time of your registration. So classes, by the time that you register, you'll be able to know which ones are online and which ones are going to be in person. But we promise that we're going to let you know information as we're giving information. So far, that's all we know.
Definitely. See another one in the chat about folks wanting to know how they pay for classes. You can definitely pay for classes on LancerPoint, and some of our panelists are going to be answering that. You'll sign into LancerPoint, which is your student portal. You're going to be using that for virtually everything. You'll sign into LancerPoint, and you will actually click on My Tuition and Financial Aid, and that will actually take you through to a portal where you'll be able to pay for classes.
Yep. And actually, where will this recording be posted? Like we mentioned, we are recording this, and we are going to make it available on step number 7, which is on the new student checklist.
Yeah, so as you access that new student checklist, you're actually going to be able to find this recording as well. Let's go to another one.
Sure.
When will we get our registration date is one that we did cover already, but again, you can go ahead and sign into LancerPoint and check your registration date coming up this Monday. Is that correct, Angie?
Yes, so on Monday, your registration date will be available on LancerPoint under My Classes and Academics. Just know that that might shift. So as things are completed, like we mentioned, there are requirements for you to get your priority. That's not just for priority, that's also for early registration. So as you're completing your online orientation, getting an ed plan, and having a placement, so most of you should already have a placement, but if it's not on there, once you get a placement or complete one of the other two, in addition to registering for JAM for priority, you'll see that your registration might fluctuate and get bumped up accordingly.
Yeah, so it might say one day, it might say one date, let's say on Monday, and then that might be updated as you complete those requirements. So
yes,
subject to change, make sure to keep checking in. It can be a little delay as it takes time to get updated, but it should update well ahead of your actual registration date and time.
For sure, yes.
Early registration. So I'm trying to sort through some of these questions that we see here coming in. I think we're kind of answering them in circles around, again, more registration priority questions, more completing items on the checklist questions. Will I get an email after registering for JAM? The answer is yes.
Here's a good one from the chat. Do you have to go through Lancer Point every time in order to check your PCC student email? So actually your PCC student email is a Gmail account. It is Google, so you can actually log into it on any Gmail app or Google app on your phone. So download that Gmail app on your phone. And then once you type in your full email, so mine would be axalvarez@go.pasadena.edu, for example, and then it'll take you over to Lancer Point, log you in, and boom, you'll have access to your PCC email on your phone and your Gmail account. So make sure that you do that.
Definitely. We're seeing some questions. Actually, a handful of questions are coming in about summer. So some students are actually going to get a jump. Angie, we see a ton of students, right, coming in wanting to get started in summer and maybe get a class or two out of the way, which is awesome. Highly encourage it if that's something that you're up for. So you may see that your registration date is set for, let's say some folks here in the chat are saying like May 26th to register for summer courses. Don't want to really confuse folks and the difference between summer and fall. So I know a lot of folks are looking to get started in fall, so this wouldn't apply. But yeah, for those of you who are seeing a registration date of say May 26th, if that's what it says in Lancer Point, for the most part, that is going to be set. That's going to be your registration date. I do want to let you know that if you don't have an ed plan on file and you've never had an ed plan created for you at PCC, do that new student counseling workshop as we've talked about. And then Angie, if I'm not mistaken, it'll actually update your registration date by a few days. So I'll go ahead and bump you up there to get you a little bit of an earlier date and time.
Yep. So I'm just adding in the chat, if you can keep your questions on the Q&A feature, that would make it easier for us to kind of sift through them. We open the chat so that if you want to kind of connect with other students, that is possible. A lot of you are throwing thank yous in the Q&As, so we want to make sure that you have that available. But if you can keep questions in Q&A, that way we ensure that we answer your question either live or answered by one of our staff members. That would make it so much easier for us, and we would really appreciate it. Yeah. All right, let's see. I'm gonna throw another big one. Let's see, after registration, so students need books, right? So where can students get their books?
That's a great question. You can take a look in the schedule of classes and see if it's going to be a zero cost textbook option, which is true for many classes. But we do have a bookstore here on campus. It's actually one of the only places on campus that you can go and access. For the most part, we do have an open campus, so you can take a stroll through and look around maybe, but there's really not much going on here. There's nothing for you to do here. There's nothing that's open. You won't be able to enter any buildings except for the bookstore. While our campus is closed, you can still visit our bookstore to purchase physical textbooks. More information can be found online, and maybe we can get that link in the chat. You can just look up bookstore on the PCC website, but it's actually going to be bookstore.com/Pasadena store. And you can contact the campus bookstore for more information. So yeah, textbooks can be found there. And then another thing that keeps coming up is a lot of the answers to these questions are actually going to be Lancer Point. Where do I find this? Where do I find that? So let's do this. Let's try an exercise, Angie. Where do I go to find my registration date?
Lancer Point.
Where do I go to find my ed plan?
Lancer Point.
Where do I go to manage all my financial aid stuff?
Lancer Point.
Excellent. So you guys the idea.
So obviously we know Lancer Point can be a little bit weird. Like it's not easy to navigate when you're first starting up. So we understand you're all first year students. You're not familiar with it. In high school, your student portals had very basic information. So that is totally understandable. If you want more help identifying where to find things on your Lancer Point that are important like that, financial aid, your registration date, how to register, all of that, we are going to cover that during pre-registration workshops. Come see us. It is totally worth it. We don't it's not a waste of time. We promise. Come see us. We're going to actually have you walk through Lancer Point on your own screen so that you know how to find everything. And the next time you register for classes, you're able to do it on your own.
One thing that we didn't cover in the presentation that actually came up, it's a fantastic question in the chat, is somebody's asking about the TAG program. TAG is TAG, Transfer Admission Guarantee Program. Basically, if you can meet a designated GPA and some other requirements, you are, and correct me if I'm wrong, Angie, you are guaranteed admission to the schools on that list. We're looking at a lot of UCs. UC Irvine, I believe, is on there, for instance, and the GPA requirements, unless they've changed, the GPA requirements are not like sky high. I mean, we're talking about really reasonable GPAs here to get guaranteed admission into those universities.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the transfer admission guarantee for UC specifically, there's other private institutions on it, but if you're talking about UCs, there's 6 UCs on our tag list. The 3 that are not on our tag list are, and I'm sure you can guess which ones, UCLA, UC Berkeley, and UC San Diego are not on our tag list. So for everything else, make sure that you're checking our transfer website for updates on that. So we are getting a lot of questions about the difference between pathways and our first year experience. So we are kind of one and the same, but we want you to understand what the difference is. So everyone that is here on campus as a first year student who has never attended college before, past dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment, so that doesn't really count, but this is your first time enrolling potentially full-time at a college, you are part of the FYE program. So everyone is part of first year experience because it's your first year experience on a college campus, right? However, there is that designation of pathways, and we have it together because it's kind of one and the same, but pathway students, so pathways FYE students, are students who get priority registration. So those are our students who participate in JAM. Those are the students who participate and in College One. They register and take College One, which is a transferable course. Okay, it's a great course for all students. But if you want priority, those 2 things need to be done for sure. Those are our kind of our deal breakers. Math and English are a little bit more flexible depending on your requirements. So if you're not required to take it for your major, or you've already met that requirement, we are not going to require you to take it again. But it is a requirement if you have not, if that is not the case for either of those, okay? So just want you to know the difference between that. Pathways gives priority, but everyone is still under FYE, okay? So that was a great question. Want to make sure that you all are all aware of that. All right. So with issues for logging into Lancer Point, we can always reach out to us. We can connect you with help for activating your Lancer Point. I will give you my quick tip on activating your Lancer Point if your information is not matching for whatever reason. And this one's a real big aha for a lot of students. When you apply to the college, if you apply with a social, you have to add your social to your activation of Lancer Point. However, if you did not apply and add your social security number to your application, you should not add that social security number to your activation of Lancer Point. So those 4 digits it asks you, because Angie with a social in the system and Angie without the social are 2 different people according to our Lancer Point. So make sure that you try that. If that does not work, reach out to us so that we can help you out.
Yep. Applied with a social security number, great. Applied without a social security number, also totally fine.
Yeah.
Some folks
Either one.
not entering them in or don't have one, totally fine. But just make sure that they kind of match. So if you didn't put it in, like Angie said, don't put it in again. Just keep it consistent.
For sure.
A lot of registration questions that I'm hoping that we're kind of answering okay so far. I know we're bouncing around here, but the chat's kind of bouncing around too. And
so bear with us.
A lot of how do I register for this? How do I enroll in that? How do I register for the classes that are listed on my ed plan? again, pre-registration workshops.
Mhm.
Like there's probably no better way to get started here at PCC and get a lot of your questions answered for the long term, for semester after semester. It's not a one and done. We don't have somebody who's going to sit down and enroll you in all your classes for you. Like, you're going to have to do this. You're going to get the opportunity to build your own schedule and customize it. It's a really cool thing. But if you learn it here on the front end, then you won't have to keep coming back with confusion or getting frustrated because the system doesn't quite make sense. We understand there's like a lot to it. There's a lot of details. It's not as easy as like going on Amazon and like dropping classes in a shopping cart and then just hitting checkout. It's not too bad, so don't worry. But it's not quite that simple. So we walk you through everything in the pre-registration workshop. It's pretty quick. We'll have you in and out in less than an hour, and we'll show you everything you need to know. And we don't just send you off and say, all right, don't come back. We send you off with all the tools that you need. You're all ready to go for your registration date and time, so that when you log in, you just type in those CRNs, the course registration numbers for your classes, and you have everything you need. We use your personal ed plan as a template. So cannot recommend the pre-registration workshop series highly enough. It is going to be something, like I said, that you're going to take with you term after term at PCC. So we'll help you through all that at those. You're going to see Angie and myself at a lot of those. So we're looking forward to seeing some of you there as well.
Yeah, for sure. We can't wait to see you all. Okay, so I actually have to jump back to the last question I answered about the difference between Pathways and FYE. And then there's another question in the Q&A: is Pathways 2 years or just the first year? So we are a first year experience program, and you will be getting if you're a priority student, you can get priority for your first year, and as long as you're meeting requirements, which your coach will identify and give you information about, continuously every term, you'll continue to get priority. But you have to get priority in your first year, in your first semester, to be able to continue getting priority. You can't just jump into the priority later on. Okay, so it's kind of a one-time deal to get into the priority. Once you're kind of out and you didn't do JAM in your first semester, you didn't do College One, unfortunately, we can't accept you into the priority program part of it. Okay, so then in addition to that, how do you enroll in Pathways? How do you enroll in FYE? So again, everyone is automatically in FYE. For Pathways, if in order for us to identify that you're interested in getting priority, the biggest thing that we use to identify that is JAM. Register for JAM. That's step number 8 on our new student checklist. If you haven't registered for JAM yet, you can register there. You can only register once, and then you have an edit link that you would get in your email so that you can edit your dates if you need to. If you're not able to access that, or you're not able to get back in there, reach out to us, pathways@pasadena.edu, so that we can help you out with that. But again, first place that we look to identify whether or not you're interested in committing to the requirements for priority, aka Pathways, is JAM registration. So hopefully that kind of clears it up. So James, how do I know if you're interested in getting priority registration for the fall semester?
Probably if I sign up for JAM.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding. Good job.
Well,
You get a gold star.
Like we said, JAM is an award-winning program. We have other institutions that kind of look at what we're doing with JAM, to be honest, kind of use this as a model. And then also on the student side of that, I talk to students all the time that come out of JAM, and I'm like, all right, you're done with JAM now. How was it? They're like, it was fantastic. I'm like, great. What questions do you still have? And they're like, I don't have any questions. I cover everything. And so I really encourage everybody to sign up for that. Make sure you're attending, make sure that you're paying attention, participating, interacting with folks. Students really do walk away with new friends here that can kind of maybe stick with you for the rest of your time at PCC. And then I would also say, with a lot of these other programs and other things that we have to offer, it's really true that you get out of it what you put into it. So if you're participating, if you're pouring in, if you're connecting with folks, building relationships, if you're learning, you're going to walk away with it. You're going to walk away much more equipped and in a much better position to succeed here.
For sure. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that we're hosting, so pre-registration, JAM, you're going to get more information as we get closer to those dates that you signed up for. So we are going to send you links. we might also start texting you those links so that you have them on your phone and you're able to just click over and jump over to that Zoom link. So if you signed up for pre-registration for Monday, we'll be sending out an email Friday, I believe. And so about 2 days out for each of our pre-registration workshops, we'll be sending you an email with our Zoom link for that session.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Let's see more. Let's see, if we've already applied and qualified for FAFSA, could I take a class this summer for free? So is summer included in financial aid? Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, definitely. So for students, this can be a little bit confusing, but you're actually going to want to rewind it a little bit and apply for that 2020 to 2021 FAFSA. So you want to use that application for 2020/2021. I know we're in 2021 now. I know a lot of us are going to be looking at fall 2021, spring 22. We're looking forward, but if you're looking at summer, summer is actually covered in the last one. So go back 2020, 2021 FAFSA and fill that out to make sure that you can get some money for summer classes.
Yeah, and then in addition to financial aid, so another question that keeps coming up is if you've already applied, like when are you going to find out about your financial aid? So right now, our financial aid department is actually processing applications. So if you have not received anything, it's probably good news. So no news right now is good news for financial aid. I know that they've been reaching out to students who have outstanding requirements. So if you have not gotten anything, it should be a good idea. It's a good thing. However, I do encourage you to go into your Lancer Point, go to your financial aid tab and click on financial aid status. That'll tell you if you have outstanding requirements or not. And then you'll be able to click that link and go on over to our verification form to provide the information that they need from you. If you need help with that, we can help you as well. So our Thursday night workshops that we have from 4 to 6, we don't just help students with submitting initially their application, but also submitting their verification forms. So if you're struggling with that, come see us so that we can help you out. And we'll drop that link in the chat as well.
Definitely.
Right.
We're talking to, I mean, we've got the links for the financial aid workshops. We've got registration for JAM. We want you to register for JAM. We want you to register for our pre-registration workshops. Many of you already have. We're excited to have you there. But I do see a question here in the Q&A. One of our awesome FYE counselors is actually typing out an answer to that now. But we have somebody asking, how do I register for a new student counseling workshop? New student counseling is actually one of the things that you don't have to register for. It is a Canvas page. It is a module that you go through. It's about 11 pages. And as Angie said, there is an intake form link on page 10 of 11. And if you fill that out, the good news is you're going to get an ed plan crafted just for you in 7 to 10 days. So you can take a look at the courses that are listed on that ed plan. And just as important, please don't forget to check the notes. So the notes are really important as well on those ed plans. So make sure that you're checking those out as well. So again, you don't have to register for new student counseling. It's done on Canvas. Make sure you get through all 11 of those pages. It's new, it's updated, it's state of the art, it's fun, it's really informative. And if you don't fill out that intake form on page 10 of 11 of new student counseling, you're not going to get an ed plan. So please make sure that you fill that out. We have students who get through all of it. Angie, correct me if I'm wrong, but how often have you heard, I went through all the new student counseling. It was fantastic. It really opened up a lot and answered a lot of questions that I still had. Awesome. Did you fill out the form? No. Okay, well, you're not going to get an ed plan.
Yeah, for sure. So I did try to help our students out. If they start the form and they don't submit it, I actually can see that. So I did reach out to students who started the form and didn't complete. And I said, hey, here's the link to your form. Make sure you complete this. The other thing is I do want to add to this and everything you said, perfect, James. Yes, exactly. If you've gone through new student counseling workshop, make sure you're submitting the intake form. The other thing is that even if you've done the workshop and even if you've done the intake form, that badge or that requirement does not automatically get completed. Our Pathways FYE counselors, who are in the room, so shout out to our FYE counselors in the room right now, answering all your amazing questions in the Q&A feature. They are working really hard. I'm not even gonna I'm not lying here. They are working extremely hard to get your ed plans done as soon as possible because they understand that you all want to know what classes you should be looking for. So please be patient with them. Don't try to submit another intake form. I think that it doesn't let you, but adding another form kind of throws things off. So just know that they are working on a 10 business day, meaning not including the weekends, 10 business day turnaround. So it could take up to 2 weeks. So if you have not submitted an intake form yet, I encourage you, highly encourage you, I implore you to submit one tonight if possible. Do it now because that's going to ensure that you have an ed plan by the time registration happens. All right.
Okay, anonymous attendee who posted at 5:17, where do we go to register for classes when the time comes? Apparently, it's okay. You might have missed it because I'd said everybody stop playing Call of Duty or whatever else you're doing earlier, but we had said, Angie, can I come to campus? Is there a building I can go to register? Is there a registration building?
No.
It's all done
Registration is not in person. It is on Lancer Point.
So Lancer Point. That's where you're going to find all your stuff. That's where you're going to do most of your stuff. A little different from Canvas. Some of you may already be familiar with Canvas, which is where you're going to interact with your instructors and get your assignments and grades and things like that. So Canvas is kind of its own thing having to do with academics. Again, many of you may already have some experience with Canvas, maybe at a high school or maybe you've already started some college courses. So Canvas is going to be all your classes. Lancer Point's going to be everything else. Yeah. So financial aid, how to find your registration date, how to actually add those classes, a good quick link to the schedule of classes so you can go through and browse through there. Again, pre-registration workshops, got to plug them because we're going to be breaking down the whole schedule of classes and how to read it. Some of it is pretty self-explanatory, right, Angie? But yeah, some of it's a little weird. So we want to make it really clear. We don't want anybody to be at a disadvantage. We want to make sure that you know how to read the schedule of classes, locate what you need, interpret your ed plan. It's pretty straightforward. They just list your classes there. But if you have questions about your ed plan at that time, come to the pre-registration workshop and we'll get them answered.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's actually good. So pre-reg, and I know that some of you might not be able to access pre-registration workshops or for whatever reason you can't, set aside that time. There are amazing guides that my friend here, James, put together that are on our website. So go to the new student checklist and don't just look at the top section that gives you information about each particular step. There's guides and additional information right underneath it. So make sure you take the time to check out our website, peruse, look around, get familiar with with everything on that checklist for each of those steps, so that you can also find more information on how to find things. So how to find your ed plan, there's a video on that. How to check your registration date, there's a video on that. So you can actually do some of that stuff now, but we can help you actually do it on the spot and kind of guide you through that process at pre-registration. But we understand that's not an option for everyone.
Right, definitely.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's see, holds. So here's another one about holds. So if you have priority registration or early registration, or you're allowed to register for all intents and purposes, but you have a hold, and one of the most common holds that we have is a minor authorization hold. So if you're a minor currently, or you're going to be a minor under 18 by the time registration comes around, we do encourage you to submit a minor authorization form. We can actually drop a link for the form and a link for you to upload it so that we can process that for you and get that hold cleared for you. That does prevent you from registering. So you can have everything we talked about today completed, but if you have that hold, the system will not even let you get in to register for classes. All right. So let's take care of those holds. We can actually help you identify if you have any other holds in addition to that. Hopefully not, but we can help you identify those during pre-registration as well.
Absolutely. So some questions here about coming from some of our international students, the I-20 forms, the F1 visa. So definitely connect with the international students office. I gotta say, like, we like to talk about how awesome our program here is, pathways. We got folks flying in from other states literally just to look at our program and seeing what we're doing. And all of that has to do with the results for students. This is all about you folks. So this is all about what happens when you all set foot in the door here at PCC. And on the other end, what made such a big difference? It's these pathways programs. But as awesome as I think that we are, and that students seem to love some of the resources that we have to offer, there's a lot of other folks. It's a big family here at PCC. There's a lot of other offices. So you go to that international students office, and they're going to show you some love too. They are definitely going to respond quickly and connect with you to provide the information that you need. So definitely see them for those those specialty questions. Same thing with, like, for instance, our transfer center. Our transfer center, we got a lot of folks in here who are looking to get in and get out and get through, get their education, and grow and move on to that next school. We got some folks, maybe you want to go to UCLA or USC and you want to get through PCC and transfer. Our transfer center is next level. All right. And I mean that literally, because you're trying to get on to the next level, right? Yeah. So go hit up the transfer center, talk to those folks, and make sure that you're getting the most out of what we have to offer. We'll make sure we connect you.
So I'm going to kind of I got another message from a student. So we want to clarify some stuff. We did present earlier about our success team. So our success coaches, you are all going to be assigned a coach, a success coach. Our success coaches are kind of like your guide here on campus. They are your first point of contact for any issue that you might have, and they can create appointments with counseling if needed. Okay, so counseling appointments are few and far between here on campus. They are a hot commodity, but your coach is the one that would create those appointments for you. So your success coach, we will identify who that is sometime in the summer. They'll reach out to you. It'll also be on your Lancer Point. You'll be able to access that information there and on Canvas once you have access to that. So that is who your success coach is. It is not a sports coach, although some of our students who are in our athletic pathway or are competitive athletes on campus will also have a sports coach, but that is separate. All right. Yeah, another frequently, go for it. Sorry.
Not there to like blow a whistle or yell at you.
Yeah, no, they won't do that. Yeah, our success coaches are super chill. We've got some pretty cool coaches, and actually that's one of the things that sets us apart on campus. Our campus to other campuses is our success coach program. That model is widely recognized in community college systems. We get asked about it all the time. So our coaches are top of the line. So definitely the GOATs there, like I mentioned earlier. So we have a question about paying for classes. So your classes, so once you register for classes, you'll see on your student account if there's a balance. So some of you might see that your fee waiver, your tuition waiver kicks in automatically. If you've done everything you need to for financial aid and they've identified that you get the California promise and everything is as it's supposed to be, you'll automatically see that go through. If for whatever reason you have anything outstanding or they're not able to determine whether you're eligible for that, you will see a balance. Or if you're not a California resident, so California residents unfortunately don't have access to the California Promise program. So if you have a balance, we don't have currently a payment plan on campus, so students can't pay by payment plan, but there is a drop deadline too. So you have to pay your classes. So whatever your balance is by a certain date, and the campus will let you know what that date is before they will drop you. So your balance does have to be under a certain amount by a certain date in order for them not to drop you from classes. But technically, yes, it should all be paid per semester.
Definitely. Yeah. And for help with a prior semester balance that is preventing you from registering, for instance, you happen to take a summer course, then you're ready to register for fall, still got to pay for that summer course. You can work that out with the Office of Student Business Services. So we'll connect you with them if needed, and work out your account balance with them.
Yeah. So some info on registration for classes. So registration for summer is starting, I think, tomorrow, right? If I remember correctly, the registration schedule starts tomorrow. So I know our first year students register the third week of May. So not this week, but the following, no, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you'll be able to register for your classes if you're a first year student. priority registration is not available for our first year students, okay? So we are the only program that will give you priority for fall initially. If you are identified as or DSPS, actually, if you're a DSPS student, you can also get priority through them for fall. But for like EOPNS or other programs, they won't give you their priority until after you've already completed certain units. So keep that in mind. But yeah, for summer, highly unlikely you would get priority registration for the summer. We start everything in the fall.
Yeah, definitely. Folks have said, I've seen 2 of these, Angie. 2 different students have said that they've submitted forms several times. They still have holds on their account. Just make sure we're, completing the forms correctly, make sure that they're signed and fully filled out. But then at the end of the day, if you're still having an issue, send us an email. pathways@pasadena.edu. It's not like a black hole where emails just go to disappear. I mean, we actually are actively answering those emails every day. There's folks here, there's a huge team, and that's all they do is literally just help students be awesome and get their stuff lifted and get their things in. So definitely take advantage of that. If it's easier for you, if you just happen to be on Instagram or whatever, and you want to send us a DM on Instagram, we've also got the Discord going as well. So feel free to hit us up any of those ways. We're going to be monitoring, and we'll be sure to answer.
Yeah, so I actually cleared holds up until yesterday, and I started clearing some of them today. Just know that the minor authorization form does have to come to my link, and I'll share that with this student that I can see. And it's also in the chat. That's a specific link that comes to me so that I can clear it. Know that there are other holds that I actually can't clear for you. So your minor authorization form hold I can clear, but others will require other departments to kind of get involved. So if you have any holds whatsoever and you don't know how to identify who to reach out to or how to get them cleared, like James said, email us so that we can help with those as well. Yeah, but minor authorization forms, if you sent it today, there's a chance that it's still there. But if you sent it before today, I cleared it unless there was no signature on there. So just make sure that it's signed. It has to be signed by your parents. And also I try to look it up, but if you don't put your ID number, highly unlikely I'm going to clear it too, because it's harder to find your info in the system. All right. So make sure that you're filling it out completely.
Angie is a hold clearing machine. Sometimes just like knocking out holds for students. And
I try.
I mean, that's a deeply personal level of attention that we're offering for our students. It's not
for sure. Yes.
Just mass clear things. Like we have to actually look at what's going on with folks. A couple questions here. How do I know if I have a hold on my account or not? How do you know if you have a hold on your account? Where would I be able to find that, Angie?
You'll find it actually in your Lancer Point. I mean, we sound like broken records here. Lancer Point is probably the first place you should check. You can find it in your My Classes in Academics section. There's a button there that has holds, student holds on there. So go ahead and click on that. You'll find out if you have any holds. If you have something on there that says something along the lines as minor authorization or minor consent form or medical consent form, those are all the same thing. You can send us the form and we will go ahead and clear that for you.
Definitely. Yep, so click on, if you go to Lancer Point, click on My Classes in Academics, and then you should be able to check my registration status and date, view holds, things like that, check your placement. Somebody's asking to repost the Discord. You can find the Discord on our Instagram link tree. We may have the link available here that can go up in the chat or as an answer to this question on the Q&A. So we can, I don't even know, I haven't looked, maybe the Discord is going off right now. Could be good. We'd love to hear from you all. So
I think it's in Instagram, right? It's on our link tree and Instagram. So go on over there at PCC_pathways. And I was laughing because I saw an email, a message here. Are you going to help me more than my high school counselor did in 4 years? Honestly, and I gotta give it to our high school counselors. They do a lot. And so I think one of the things that we have to constantly remind you all is that this is not high school, and you are used to having your high school counselors do a lot for you. I'm not gonna downplay that. I actually have a high school counseling credential, and I don't know if I could ever do it, to be honest. They do a lot, but on campus here, a lot of the stuff that your counselors did in high school gets separated for different departments. And so our college counselors, they do amazing work. They do amazing work, but they do not help you with registration. They do not clear holds. Honestly, they don't even have access to clear holds, okay? They don't, look up, your information. They don't do a lot of that. So we do ask that you reach out to us so that we can help you connect with what department can help you with any one of your issues or any one of your questions, because the chances are that we can help you on the spot, to be honest. So we do a lot in our department, and we try to make sure that we can get a lot of your issues resolved, just by you calling James, or just by you emailing our pathways email, or whatever it might be. But our counselors are really like ed planning machines, helping you identify what your transfer stuff is. And like I mentioned, they've been super swamped in this global pandemic, in this remote learning environment. They actually have not even started coming to campus. And so they are trying to navigate this as well as possible. Unfortunately, like I said, they are not available to meet with our incoming students, but they are trying to get your ed plans done as soon as possible. So to answer your question, long-winded answer there, but to answer your question, probably not, because your high school counselors are amazing. But we are going to do our best to make your time here at PCC the best time that you can have.
And for those of you who didn't have such a good experience and get the personalized attention and support that maybe you felt would have helped you do better academically and in other ways, we want you to thrive. So we have your coach. Again, we're going to keep hammering that in. We want to direct you to your coach. They're going to help you succeed. And there's a chance that your coach, for some of you here, there's a chance that your coach is going to provide more of the direct support and empowerment and connection that you've had, more so than you may have had in all 4 years of high school. So you just never know. But like Angie said, some of those folks are super hardworking and are really dedicated. A lot of these high school counselors are doing amazing work. But we have it's a slightly different kind of setup here once you're in college. But we're all here to help. We are all here to partner with you.
For sure.
California resident. This is a big one. So I'm thinking that we have actually not covered this one yet. Out-of-state tuition.
I don't think we have either.
Okay. You want me to take this one, Angie? I kind of deal with it a lot day to day, but
I'm trying to add links in the chat over here. I'm trying to multitask.
So this is the topic of residency and the process to get your residency status changed here in our system would be residency reclassification. It's something that can trigger your status as an out-of-state student, even if you lived in California your whole life or you grew up right down the street from PCC, whatever it is. Something that can trigger your out-of-state status being marked incorrectly is one of the answers that you provided on your original application. So for those of you who have already applied, many of you have, you'll see on your CCC Apply, it's the California Community Colleges application system. They ask a series of questions, including, your current address, have you lived in California X amount of years? So there's a number of things that you can answer on that application that will trigger your status to appear as out of state. And our out-of-state tuition is considerably higher. You'll end up paying a lot more as an out-of-state student than you will as an in-state community college student. It's just kind of how it works. And so what do you do if I'm from Los Angeles, for instance? We've got a person in the chat who's saying that it says that they're not a California resident or that the system has designated them as not being a California resident. And so they're probably seeing some much, much higher tuition. As an example, you might sign up for a course that an in-state resident would be paying a few $100s for, that an out-of-state resident would be getting charged upwards of $1,000. So it's pretty dramatic, and we are here. We're gonna work with you to get that process fixed. as soon as we can. That's actually going to be handled through admissions and records. So there is a Zoom link that you're going to see in the Q&A. That's an answered question. So thank you, Tallene, for throwing that in there. You can generally reach admissions and records Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. To 5. I think they close up a little bit early, closer to 4:30 on Friday, but the sooner you get in there, the better. Go ahead and click on that link and speak with an admissions specialist, and they'll try to get that sorted for you. The residency reclassification process is not something that can be done at the snap of a finger. They will need to review some documents. There will be a little bit of a process to it, but we'll do our best to work through that quickly for you. Make sure that that gets resolved so that you are being charged the tuition that you're supposed to be being charged. Don't panic, even if the number looks really high, and even if you feel that you're in a position where you have to pay for classes right away while you're waiting for your residency reclassification request to be resolved. Just know that if you were to pay the out-of-state tuition and wanted to get a refund for the difference, you can always do that once the residency reclassification process is done. So once everything's complete, if you want to get a refund for the difference, you can totally do that. I do want to encourage everybody here, if you are tagged as an out-of-state student and you do get that reclassified, please make sure that you're following up with the admissions and records department. Please make sure you want to follow up with us. You can reach out to us at pathways@pasadena.edu, and we'll make sure that you get that refund as you're supposed to, and we'll start the process for that. They won't come find you and write you a check. You have to ask for it, so it's not automatic. So just make sure that this is really important. A lot of folks, this could make the difference of them finishing their courses on time. This can make the difference of them being able to transfer in a time that they want to. We take it really seriously, and we want to make sure that you are being charged accurately. So if you're tagged as an out-of-state student, feel free to reach out to us at pathways@pasadena.edu, or just go ahead and jump in that Zoom link basically any day of the week, Monday through Friday.
For sure. And if you are in fact an out-of-state resident, once you have been in California and have kind of established California residency for a year and a day from the first day of the term that you're intending to register for, that would qualify you for California residency. So I did see that in the chat. So a year and a day would give you that California residency. Yeah. So kind of want to reiterate our priority registration steps. So make sure that you are registering for JAM to get priority. Make sure that you are registering for College One and Math and/or English, so that we can help you, so that we can ensure that you are going to continue getting priority through the Pathways program. And as an added bonus, pre-registration, those are not required, but highly encouraged for all of you to attend, regardless of whether you're getting priority or not. Those are open to all first-year students. All right, and then I've got a few, I'm going to throw out a few key words at you, James, and you tell me what they are. All right, so quick quiz here. Lancer Point.
Student portal. That's where you do
everything. Lancer Point. Lancer Mail.
Lancer Mail is your student email. That's where you're going to find everything, all of our messages to you. That's where Angie's messages are going to come in, letting you know that you have something you still need to do. You fell behind on something. That's where you're going to get your introduction to your coach. So,
yeah, and fun fact, Gmail account, log into it on Gmail, all right? And I like to say fun fact because everybody pays attention when you say fun fact. All right, next one. We'll say fun fact. No. Lancer ID. What's a Lancer ID?
Lancer ID is going to be an 8-digit student ID number that you're going to use for a lot of stuff here on campus and online as well.
Yep. All right. Trying to catch up on some of these frequently asked questions. So we got one about studying. If you can't concentrate at home while you're in class or trying to do homework, is there anything available for you to come and study on campus? So one of our structures is actually used as a Wi-Fi study area, I guess. Right now we do have it. Yeah, we do have Wi-Fi available in one of our structures. I know that was one of the first things we did on campus. We do have a study lounge on campus, and there are a lot of guidelines you have to follow in order for you to be able to go into that. So make sure that you are checking our website for more up-to-date information. There is a lot of information. There's a banner at the very top that has all of our updates, COVID related updates for the campus. You can find more information on there as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I want to pause here for a moment, Angie, too, and just like give folks an opportunity. If anybody's confused about some of the stuff that we're talking about that has to do with summer and fall registration, I've been seeing some repeated questions here. Number one, will College One, that's Pathways requirement, College One course, will that take place in fall or summer? Really just aiming for fall. We don't have it available in the summer.
Actually, we do now. Yeah, we do now. So yeah, that's a new development. So sorry for not giving you that update, James. Yeah, so we are going to have very limited sections for summer. So if you're interested in getting that requirement out of the way for summer, yes, it's available in the summer.
Yes, so definitely available in summer, but only online. So no summer College One here on campus, but yes, definitely online. In the fall, looks like we're going to have some partial, half on the ground, half online, as well as some fully online offerings. So if you want to still stay remote, you're more than welcome to do that. I want everybody to feel safe. And for those of you who are saying, I think I saw a question earlier that specifically said, I see my registration date, it's May 26th. That's awesome. And they said, well, how is that possible? Because Angie said earlier that the earliest registration dates are going to start on June 2nd. So June 2nd, June 3rd, June 4th, those are the earliest registration dates possible for fall. So you're gonna have different registration date for summer than you are for fall. So you'll register for summer, you'll get that rolling, and then you'll register for fall. That'll be its own thing. So for anyone who's here tonight who is saying, hey, look, I'm good on summer. I'm not interested. I want to take a break really quick, and then we'll get started in fall, and I'm going to rock and roll starting in August. That's great. Please ignore all this summer stuff. Please don't pay attention to all this summer stuff that we're talking about. No pressure at all. But for the students who are interested in taking summer courses, or maybe just kind of kicking the tires on this whole PCC thing, definitely want you to go ahead to Lancer Point, click on check my registration status and date, and then make sure that you are looking at the right term. So Angie, the 17th, I believe, is when, and that's coming up this Monday, that's when we're going to start seeing all of our fall registration dates.
Fall registration.
So you won't be able to see fall yet.
Not yet.
So hopefully that's not too confusing. But then once that is live, just make sure if you're looking at summer, make sure that you select summer 2021. If you want to look at fall, you want to check out your registration date for fall, it'll ask you, it'll prompt you, what term do you want to look at? I want to look at fall. Okay. And then it'll give you your fall registration date, which hopefully you're getting your requirements in. You're going to see a June 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. If you don't have that yet, again, don't freak out. They may still be updating. And so it's not really set in stone. It's kind of based on completing those requirements.
Yeah. Yeah. So summer registration starts tomorrow. But for all of you first year students, you'll be registering the last week of May, more than likely. So there's some time, and that's why our pre-registration workshops actually start on the 17th next week, which is when the schedule of classes is available for the fall semester. But for those of you interested in registering for summer classes, it does overlap with registration for the summer courses, so we can help you with both, or creating a schedule for both if you want us to. If there's time. So if time allows, it's a very short hour. It does go by really fast because there's a lot. We're very ambitious with that workshop, but we're going to try to help you as much as possible. But if summer is what you're trying to start with, we can help you with that summer registration or summer scheduling as well. But yeah, registration for summer starts tomorrow. But for all of you, it will be in that last week of May. For fall registration starts June 1st. And our priority students will register June 2nd through the 4th. And all of our FYE students will get to register, all of our other FYE students will get to register as early as June 15th. Okay, so huge difference. Make sure that you get that priority.
Definitely. We touched earlier on Canvas. The Canvas platform is, again, where you're going to find a lot of your school content. Right, so some of your instructor syllabus will be posted there. You may have some quizzes and tests online that are found on Canvas. You're going to see grades on Canvas. You can interact with your classmates on Canvas, right? So one thing that we're going to see a lot of, Angie, last year this was a huge thing. It came up a ton, so I want to make sure we make this really clear. We had Edison here in the chat who had thrown in a question about not being able to access Canvas yet. So this is a big one. We want to log into Canvas and take a look around, and you can't. Canvas will not actually be active. Thank you, Philip, for answering this one in the chat. Canvas will not be active for most students until their first class begins. So it's basically like a classroom. It's going to open up to you for each class once the class starts. So you might get in a couple days early, right before the start of that class. That instructor may activate that, turn it on, and let you go through and review those materials. But please, just want to make it clear, do not worry if you can't get into Canvas until like the first day of class. That might be the case. And not just I'm in Canvas and I don't see my courses listed, but like you may not be able to log into Canvas at all. And there's nothing wrong. Like you know, you're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with your account. You're good. So if you take courses in summer or fall, you are going to see Canvas start to activate closer to the start of that term. So hopefully that's clear for folks who have no problem getting into Lancer Point, but who are getting an error when they try to get into Canvas. Just know that's normal. That's part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and actually, I get so many questions in our Pathways email. I've reset my password 5 times now. It still doesn't let me in. Don't reset your password. If you know for sure that that's your password and it lets you into Lancer Point, it's not you, it's Canvas. It's just not letting you in. So Canvas login will be the same as your Lancer Point. It's the same username. It's the same password. You don't need to reset it if it doesn't work there, but it works in Lancer Point. As long as your Lancer Point is working right now, that's all we're worried about. But like James mentioned, once you're enrolled in classes and once the class has officially started, or sometimes, you know, a day or two before that class starts, you'll be able to go into Canvas with your Lancer Point login. It's the same login. Yeah.
A student, I think it's Kayla. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I got my education plan for fall 2021. Great job, Kayla. That is awesome. So here you all have it. There's an example of a student who did new student counseling and got their educational plan. They got some courses listed on that plan, and now they are asking, hey, I see these courses. Maybe I've got like a math 15 or a stats 50, and I see an English 1A maybe, and college 1 is probably appearing on that ed plan as well. And Kayla wanted to know, is it just a suggestion as to what classes I should take, or do I do something more? Your individual educational plan will be your guide to selecting courses for the fall semester, as Desiree, one of our awesome FYE counselors, added in there. And she said, please use this plan to help you determine what to register for this fall. To set you up for success, I definitely recommend following that ed plan to the T. Our counselors know what they're doing, and they do this all the time. So they're setting that up for you. If you are interested in aerospace engineering and they set you up with an ed plan for that, or you know, you're interested in a STEM, you know, program that is tailored specifically maybe to transfer to a certain university, your counselor is going to take all that into consideration when they're making your ed plan. And they're going to try to narrow it down to specific courses for you, instead of just throwing out kind of like, if anybody has seen the IGETSI requirements, for instance, and they say, well, you can take any one of these 30 courses to satisfy the requirements. And that doesn't really help. It doesn't really but your ed plan generally does. So your ed plan will narrow it down. It'll have some notes there, sometimes for individual classes. So go ahead and take everything exactly as your ed plan has it laid out, and we are very confident that you're going to do well. If for whatever reason you choose not to take those specific courses, you have that option. The ed plan is not saying you're only allowed to take these courses, right, Angie? But
it's not concrete. The system's not going to say, hey, that's not on your ed plan, you can't take that, or hey, you're missing this class. No, it is a guide. It is not set in stone. Things do shift, like the student that, you know, we had in our presentation mentioned. Sometimes the class is not available and you have to shift things around. If that's possible, you can do that. Sometimes, however, our counselors do put classes in a certain order because they're prerequisites for other classes. So just keep that in mind as well. So if you're able to follow it as much as possible, great. But if not, and you need additional assistance on how to shift things around, our counselors can also, our coaches can help you make that determination, or make an appointment with a counselor if needed when you start here already. Okay. But for your first year, your first semester, your first term, you're probably already good with your ed plan that's already created for you.
Absolutely. We have anonymous attendee at 5:38 p.m. asked, will the fall semester be virtual or in person? I totally understand if you missed that one earlier, but that question was answered live. So we're not going to tell you again. I'm just kidding. It's actually going to be it's going to be a blend. So we're going to have some in-person courses. We're going to have some virtual courses. We're going to have some courses that are part in person and then part you do it online. So what percentage of those are going to be fully in person? What percentage of the classroom capacity is going to be filled up? We're not sure. We're not sure, and it's gonna vary from course to course and by instructor, and so there's a lot of moving parts there. But yes, we will have some courses in person, and yes, if you want to stay virtual, most of your classes you can probably do online, especially this fall. So you're gonna have some options there for sure, and we promise that we're going to provide more information as we have it. Everything is fluid, everything is changing. We're trying to be respectful with state and federal and local guidelines. We have our own health department here in Pasadena. It's one of the only places, it's one of only 2 cities in LA County that has its own health department. So we do have to go by their guidelines as well. And we just have our priority of keeping students safe.
Yeah.
So is that not a good concrete answer to your question? Maybe not. I'm sorry about that. But you know what we know. We're going to share with you, and we're not keeping any secrets or anything.
For sure.
Any news on study abroad? Nothing yet. Thank you, Tallene, for answering that one. Still figuring things out because of COVID. Looks like maybe some countries are opening up to the U.S. passports coming in and visiting, maybe. I don't know. But right now, the study abroad thing is going to, I think, just be on hold while we figure things out.
Yeah. There's a lot of liabilities with having you all travel to other countries in the middle of a global pandemic. So probably, like James said, it's going to continue to stay on hold. But as he just mentioned, as things get updated and as we find out information, we will definitely share that with you all.
Absolutely. Some of these questions, a ton of questions we've already answered.
Let's see. There's the ed plan one that we actually haven't answered this part of it. So my ed plan shows from summer 2021 to spring of 2022. Is that all I need? That's your first year. So we have 3 terms. 3 terms: summer, fall, and spring. Okay. So if you have a ed plan for all 3 of those, you're golden for the first year. Sometime in your first year, you're going to have a 45-minute appointment. And we probably should have mentioned this earlier, right? A lot of you are chomping at the bit to meet with counseling. In your first year, you are going to meet with a counselor for 45 minutes individually. You're going to have them all to yourself to ed plan the rest of your time here at PCC. So if you obviously haven't had a chance to meet with a counselor, and we understand you want to, but as long as they've ed planned for you for your first year or for your first term up to the fall semester, great. At some point in your first year, you're going to meet with a counselor individually, one-on-one, and they're going to help you develop the rest of your ed plan, called the comprehensive ed plan. So you do an abbreviated ed plan for your first year or first couple of terms. I know that right now we're doing just summer and fall, but later on, you'll get a comprehensive ed plan that has everything else all the way through completion. So whether that is transfer or graduation. All right. So you will meet with a counselor at some point, we promise.
Definitely. Yeah, we're not like the counseling police. We're not going to stop you and deny you access to counseling. That's what they're here for. They're here to connect with you. And then on the ed plan thing as well, Angie, some folks, I've seen a few of these. Could we change our major and receive a new ed plan? So if you've already submitted that intake form and you've received an abbreviated ed plan to get you started here at PCC, your major is set in stone and you can never change it, right, Angie?
Yeah, right. No, don't listen to James. He's got really dry humor.
you can change your major like 5 times if you want. I mean,
as many times as you want.
It out, and we're going to be here figuring it out with you. So if you decide to come in as a bio major and now you want to go in a different direction, that's fine. We're going to get you an updated ed plan. Please don't follow that old ed plan. Let's get you that updated ed plan.
Well, it depends. It depends. So your ed plan could be as general as just some of your intro classes. So it depends. And Philip is still in the room. If Philip can drop information on how students can email you in case they need that update, like that would be helpful, or how to like communicate, or you can email Pathways. Email Pathways, we'll shoot it over to our new student counseling. So sometimes or for the most part, our first year ed plans do have general information or general courses, your math, your English, your college one. They might add a placeholder for some of our I Get C courses. that's not going to change depending on what your major is. Math, English, college one. Well, math could change. So I'm going to take that back. Math could change. But there's a good chance you might be able to continue following some sort of ed plan that you've already got, and you just have to shift things around, like I mentioned earlier. But reach out to us. We can help you connect with our counseling team so that they can help you with making those updates or adjustments as needed. But if you've changed from like STEM to a completely non-STEM major, then yes, we would probably have to update more of your ed plan. But if you're staying kind of in the same field-ish, you're good. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. It might still totally be applicable depending on what it is. And just so you know too, when in doubt, pathways@pasadena.edu, shoot us an email, we will respond. But that email that comes out to you when you get your ed plan as well, that's not a robot that just sends you some automated email. Like there's a person on the end of that. So if you type back, hey, I have questions about my ed plan, I actually want to change my major, whatever it is, a human being on the other end, an academic counselor, is actually going to get back to you, and
Sure.
you guys have a dialogue at that point.
Yeah.
So that's a really awesome feature and service that we offer, connect you to a counselor. And
Yep.
it's not just a one and done where you submit it, you get your ed plan, and then we never want to hear from you again. We want to hear from you as many questions as you have, keep them coming.
And I know Philip is answering this question, and I just threw it out there, but if you don't know what it is, iGETC placeholders. So iGETC is a general education pattern that some students will follow to complete transfer requirements. There's, like James mentioned, there's a lot of classes that meet any one requirement. So there's a chance that our counselors will say, pick a class from this section in the iGETC, so that we don't want to pick your classes for you. We don't know what you're into. We don't know what kind of classes you'd be interested in taking. And so instead of saying, take this class, and being very specific about it, they'll say, take a class from this section that has maybe 30 or 40 classes that you can choose from, so that you can, kind of get started on that general ed pattern. So that's what a placeholder is, just a group of courses that you can pick from yourself. A guided group of courses that you can pick from yourself. Yeah. College one. So college is its own subject in the schedule of classes. So you can find it, just click college as a subject and then click search. Don't do any other filters. When you start doing filters, I don't know why it doesn't show up, but college is the subject. Just do college. I know that there's like 6 sections in the summer. Yeah. Deadline for signing up for the honors program. They do have an orientation that they do in the summer. So you do want to get identified with them as soon as possible, so that they can also tag you and give you access to their honors courses. But you can't start applying until after you've gotten your final transcript. So there's a really short kind of sweet spot there. So as soon as you get a transcript, have your application ready to go, and just kind of add in your GPA. And send that over there. The information on how to apply is on their website. And so that you can get connected with them as soon as possible. Yeah, but just a quick note, honors doesn't give priority. Common misconception is that honors give students priority. They don't, but they do connect and they collaborate a lot with us in Pathways. So we can give you priority, but then their honors courses are only open to honors students. So that kind of gives you some kind of exclusivity to those honors courses as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Seeing, a lot of this information, like you're saying, Angie, too, is available on the PCC website. If for whatever reason you're having a tough time navigating, or you did a search and you can't quite find what it is you're looking for, remember, pathways@pasadena.edu. We will hook you up. There are some things you cannot find on the website. For instance, your coach's name. Your coach is going to be assigned to you sometime during the summer, and that's when you're going to first hear from your coach. So you won't just be able to go look up on the website what your coach's name is going to be yet. And then we got more tag questions here. The list of schools. I know we mentioned Irvine earlier. I think Santa Barbara was one of them as well. A little bit of a higher GPA there, but still very reasonable. But where can we find the list of schools? Thanks, Philip, for answering that one there in the chat to talk about the tag options. Again, tag, TAG, transfer admission guarantee. And so you can kind of take a look at the list of schools there. You could probably get away with just doing a quick search for tag, just TAG right there in the search bar. and our tag program is going to be one of the first things that comes up. The PCC webpage has that awesome search feature that generally will get you right to what you need within a couple of clicks. We also have the PCC directory as part of that as well. So a lot of folks are saying, I want to get in touch with an instructor for something, and maybe a little early now for a lot of you folks who have not enrolled in courses or are not enrolling till fall. It may not need to get in touch with your instructor, but I just want to give everybody a heads up that instructor email addresses can be found using that search feature. So you can either search the website in general, or if you click on that little magnifying glass on the PCC website, you'll have an option to search the PCC directory as well. You can look an instructor up maybe just by typing in the last name, see what comes up there. And generally, at the very least, you'll be provided with a working email address for them that generally they're going to be monitoring when classes are in session, meaning once the semester begins. If you do email an instructor and they don't get right back to you right away, especially over the summer, it just may be the case that they are not available or monitoring that email during that time. But the directory is another awesome, awesome tool when you're doing searches.
Yep. So we've got about 10 more minutes. So if any of you have other burning questions, please let us know. I know some of you are logging off. You know, we're kind of at the end of our programming here. We've had a lot of great questions. For any of you that are graduating in the next few weeks or in the next month, I guess, it's graduation season. We do congratulate you on your graduation and hope you are able to celebrate safely with your loved ones. And we can't wait to see you all in the fall here on campus, virtually or in person, depending on what your classes are. But again, we'll update you on those requirements or those guidelines as we get information as well.
Absolutely, and just keep checking back on that new student checklist. You're going to want to refer to that new student checklist, those 10 steps. Make sure that you, honestly, many of you have probably already completed at least 2. Many of you have applied to PCC, so there's one. And you are all attending this workshop, so there's one right there. So honestly, some of you might already have a lot of those steps done, which is awesome. Keep in mind that many of those are essentially guidelines to help you be successful as you get started here at PCC. Other things are requirements to continue to get priority registration and to be part of the Pathways program. Definitely JAM attendance is big. They're going to be taking attendance, making sure that everybody's participating and getting the most out of JAM. We're not exactly taking attendance for this workshop. It's not considered really a requirement, nor are the pre-registration workshops that we keep talking about. Pre-registration workshops are going to get you all set up to build your dream schedule. Can't promise that you're going to get your exact dream schedule depending on what time you decide to register, but they are going to help you get set up to have the classes that you want and need to get started according to your ed plan. So definitely that one's optional. This workshop is optional. JAM, not optional if you are looking to continue in the program and get priority registration. So hopefully that's clear.
So let me go over some of these last burning questions that I want to make sure we get. If you have a hold status stating that you have high school permission forms that are needed, if they're for this term, upcoming summer or upcoming fall semester, there's a high chance you apply to the summer and fall as a high school student and not a first-time student. So if that's the case, you do need to reach out to the admissions. And I know that we posted the Zoom link somewhere in the Q&A and the chat somewhere. You can also go to the Virtual Support Center, which you can find on our main website on our pasadena.edu website, so that you can connect with admissions and records. You can show them that you are a high school student and that you will be graduating this year so that they can update your status to first-time student. If that's the case, more than likely you haven't been receiving my information, or I haven't identified that you're an incoming first-time student. So just keep that in mind. That will open up kind of everything for you for first year. Although you were able to identify open house, which is great. I'm glad you're all here. But if that's from past years and you intended to take a class and you have a hold, reach out to us so that we can see if we can help you out in removing that hold sooner rather than later. All right.
Definitely. Yeah. On the holds thing, Andrew, we saw somebody, I think it was Cassandra maybe in the chat saying that they had faxed their form in. Definitely an option, and submitting certain things online using upload links is great. But If you're sending anything over to pathways@pasadena.edu as attachments, attaching those forms, honestly, that depending on what the hold is, that may get it cleared a little faster. And it also just know that Angie has got her link that she has provided that will be a share file link for you to upload the forms directly. And then Angie goes through and just clears things right on the spot. Not 24-hour wait, not 48 hours. You can register none of that. It's on the spot. Angie does it, it's done.
Yeah. And so I'm going to drop that share file link actually in the chat. For minor authorization forms, I will clear those. Try not to send them to our email if it has confidential information. But if it's anything else like that, that doesn't have all of that, let us know. However, your AB 540 form, so if you do have an AB 540 form that you're trying to submit, or it's a non-resident tuition exemption form, I think is the full name of that form. It's kind of a mouthful. If you're an AB 540 student and you're trying to submit that form, that affidavit to the admissions and records, they do have a link to upload on their website. And I do want to send you over to that. So that it doesn't sit in my share file until I process all of the minor authorization forms, because I don't clear those. That is something that goes through admissions that then connects with financial aid and gives you out in-state tuition. So don't send it to me, send it to our appropriate department, which is admissions and records. Okay, you can find that upload link on their website. So make sure that you are doing that. All right, 5 more minutes. I know there was one other question that we had. So one of our requirements again was register for math, stats, English or ESL, and College One, right? That's kind of the priority there for pathways. So math and or English in your first semester. So math and or English, they can be separated. Just know that it really depends on your major. If you're a STEM major, there's a lot more math you have to take. So we do encourage you to take math every semester up until you finish your math sequence. For English, if you choose to kind of split that up and not take English with your math class, totally up to you. So you don't have to take them together. However, they do need to both be done, or your math has to have started and your English has to be done by your first year. So that is a requirement. College One has to be completed by the fall. So you can do it in the summer or you can do it in the fall. Either one is going to give you your priority. Okay. So make sure that you are getting that done. Okay. So those are the requirements. Great questions. Math or stats, English or ESL. Okay. So it really depends. And ESL is English for second language learners. For those of you who kind of fall under that category, there's an additional step you have to take to get your placement. Go to the online orientation. That one's a big one. So you can kind of get those 2 steps done in one. Go to online orientation. It's going to give you all kinds of stuff in there. Okay. All right. We've got a few more minutes here. We've got no open questions in our Q&A. I think this is a great time to kind of wrap up. If there is nothing else, I'm trying to look at our panelists and see if there's nothing else that we got to throw out there. We want to thank you once again for being here with us, and for joining us tonight and being with us for the last 2 hours. We have enjoyed answering all of your questions. We want to make sure that we are helping you all out. If you still have any outstanding questions, and I know some of them are coming in now, but we do have to kind of end in a couple of minutes. Please make sure to email us, pathways@pasadena.edu. Again, in order for you to get priority and be a pathway student, make sure you're registering for JAM. That's another one I'm gonna throw out there before we have to go. JAM registration lets me know that you are interested in getting priority and are interested in committing to the requirements for priority. JAM is step number 8 on our new student checklist. Make sure you go over there and register tonight as soon as possible. If you don't get a confirmation email, reach out to us so that we can fix your email or figure out what's going on. We encourage you to do JAM. JAM is great and it gives you that priority. Again, priority registration gives you up to 3 weeks earlier registration, which can be big. If you've got other commitments, other things that you're doing that are on your plate, it helps with being able to be the first one to pick your classes because you can build that schedule. All right. So pathways@pasadena.edu is your email to go to. Everything should go there. If we did not get to your question, email us, okay? Lastly, and if you have other things that we can support you with and you need us to connect you with other departments, please go to our virtual support center. James is one of our lead for the virtual support center. So he is there with a bunch of amazing other staff on campus. So go to the virtual support center. You can actually access it from our main website. So on our homepage, you'll see virtual support center. It's a yellow button. Click on that. It'll take you over. You'll connect with some of our staff member. They'll call you or they'll set up an appointment to meet with you so that you can get whatever your issue is fixed. So that's how you're going to connect with financial aid. That's how you're going to connect with admissions. So with that, again, we bid you adieu. We say good night. We say congratulations to all of our graduates, and we cannot wait to have you all with us in some way, shape, or form in the fall or possibly the summer. All right, we'll see you all in JAM.
And welcome to PCC.
Yeah,
Thank you.
go Lancers.
Go Lancers.
Bye, everyone.
Good night. We'll see you soon.